This free-to-stream 80% Western series blended the best of Yellowstone with Friday Night Lights as a teen-centric drama airing on ABC Family, rebranded to Freeform. From 2005 to 2008, Wildfire naturally evokes comparisons to the defining high school sagas from the early aughts, like The OC and One Tree Hill. Although Wildfire follows the turbulent lives, loves, and losses of four adolescents and their respective adversarial families, the series' best matches are more off the beaten path. Yellowstone, one of modern television's biggest hits, and Friday Night Lights, the classic tearjerker about tenacity, hope, and of course, football. Created by Michael Piller and Christopher Teague, Wildfire merges the latter's community-driven emotional center with less bleak versions of Yellowstone's Western setting, ranch-related politics, and its preoccupation with familial legacy. In Wildfire's case, the winsome and underrated sleeper hit earned a tiny but mighty following thanks to its grounded thematic roots surrounding redemption, small-town dynamics, competitive sports, and interpersonal stakes, as well as the timeless connection between an outcast girl and her beloved horse. What is Wildfire about? Wildfire unfolds at Raintree Ranch in Fremont, a rural town where horse racing reigns supreme as a spectator pastime, a demanding sport, and a way of life. After serving 18 months in a juvenile correctional facility for car theft, teenager Chris Furillo, Genevieve Padalecki, develops an unexpected bond with the titular horse, whose rebellious disposition lives up to his name. The young woman with a lost, lonely soul and the retired racehorse condemned to a slaughterhouse understand and rescue each other in the elemental way that's reserved for humans and animals. Both Chris and Wildfire's lives change once Chris' natural respect, affection, and affinity for equines secures her a stable hand position with Raintree. After some initial hesitation, owner Jean Ritter, Nana Visitor, and her father, Henry, Dennis Weaver, grant Chris the encouragement, acceptance, and tools required to heal herself that Chris needs at the time she most needs them. Meanwhile, Chris might just be the miracle the Ritters need to keep the Raintree business afloat. As Chris nurtures Wildfire, training her animal soulmate into a thoroughbred racehorse champion, she devotes herself to becoming a jockey, worthy of his own recovering spirit. Threats emerge in the form of Chris' horse-riding nemesis, Danny Davis, Nicole Tabiola, the daughter of the Ritters' wealthy and morally ambiguous enemies, as well as several unexpected romances, like the love triangle between Chris, Jean's son Matt, Mike Alberti, and Danny Saul the brother, Kenneth Jr. Davis, Ryan Seapack. Wildfire filters small-town politics, Western tropes, and teen drama through a mature lens. When Wildfire opens, the Ritters are struggling to stay financially afloat. Fees accumulate and metaphorical vultures circle, like Ken Davis Sr., James Reed, the patriarch eager to fold his rival's beleaguered stable, one run by love, not for profit's sake, into his empire. Chris can relate to being the underdog, born into a lower economic class, denied a naturally loving family, and punished by the law. The odds have opposed her since day one. Chris lacks the naivety of more traditional young protagonist, accustomed to harsh truths. She uses her aloofness, her logic, and her safe connection with animals as a defense against further betrayal. 5 TV Westerns with Thanksgiving episodes to devour this November. If you want to enjoy the holiday festivities with a good Western, here are some you ought to revisit. However, when the Ritters grant her a second chance, Chris demonstrates the maturity, willingness, and committed hard work required to both improve and prove herself as a trustworthy, loyal person. Working at Raintree helps her gain clarity and discover a purpose after going so long without either, leaving her determined to rebuild her world after external and self-inflicted damage. Over time, Chris embraces healthy ambition, pursues her dreams with renewed hope, and opens up to the Ritters. Their family-by-choice connection stays true even when Chris finds herself reluctantly caught up in the whirlwind of her yearning affection for Junior, a boy who, on the surface, embodies everything she resents. Yet Junior embarks upon his own journey towards self-worth, valiantly rejecting the pitfalls of his spoiled, silver spoon-in-hand upbringing. Alongside Danny, the Davis children emphasize Wildfire's core themes, establishing one's identity and defying predetermined expectations. Adolescents finding their place in a dangerously overwhelming world is a common teen drama refrain, but Wildfire highlights an often overlooked fact. Even though mistakes are inevitable, you can recover through active growth, contrition, and self-forgiveness. Wildfire applies Friday Night Lights character-driven, sports-focused stakes to horse riding. One of the best Western remakes of all time just hit Netflix. Wildfire offers safer, less grim, dramatic stakes than either Friday Night Lights or Yellowstone, but compensates with dynamic character tension surrounding the ensemble's fears for the future and the risk-reward dichotomy of competitive sports environments where fate can turn on a dime. For the Ritters, every galloping sprint, elaborate trick jump, and possible win determines whether Chris and Wildfire can ensure their found family survival. Together with excellent performances and multi-generational chemistry, Wildfire is an easy but rewarding binge watch that's especially appealing for fans of its aforementioned comparison series, as well as the adults who spent their childhoods devouring A Girl and Her Horse books.